It's the SawCast, real niggas speak that real shit on real topics, and I'm your host Ariel, and I have a special guest, Felicia. How are you doing, Miss Felicia?
I am so good. I'm so glad to be here.
I'm so happy you're here. Miss Felicia has been an emotional release specialist for 13 years, and I brought her here because I met her at it was
A networking
networking event.
Uh-huh.
It was a couple of us there,
Yeah.
and she really stood out to me because she started talking about healing, and she started talking about how she felt like Black people weren't getting this type of therapy, and I think that it's something that we should do, and it's very important. And um, I've been really looking into this type of therapy for a while, so I thought that maybe her coming on just to share her experiences would help us for sure
Thank
and get
you.
more Black people in it.
Yes,
You know
let's
what I'm
do
saying?
it.
Okay, so first question I want to ask is just
Uh-huh.
how are you? Like, how are you doing?
How am I doing?
Yeah.
I am doing well. Life is good. Life is transitioning right now. I think for myself and a lot of people, just the way the world is turning right now, a lot of people are experiencing transition on all levels. And so I'm in the midst of great transition in my workspace, also financially too as well, and physically too as well, making some changes in my physical well-being. And so I'm in a lot of transition right now, and it's a great place to be.
Okay, so
Yeah.
tell me how you got into this kind of work. What
Okay.
pushed you there? What got you?
Well, it wasn't my intention.
Mhm.
My background, as far as educational background, is I graduated with a bachelor's in business management. My goal was to be in the human resources, and so I worked in that area for a while. But while I was in college, I was very active in Christian ministry.
Mhm.
It really was a huge part of my life then. And so I wanted to go into ministry. And so when I graduated, I was like, I'm not married. I don't have any space. I'm going to go to seminary. And I went to seminary. I went to Moody Bible Institute in Chicago while I worked as a human resource specialist.
Mhm.
And I ended up getting pregnant. I met my husband
Wow.
and got pregnant and got kicked out of the Moody Bible Institute. And it was a game changer for me. And so I had my children and I'm getting married. I have 4 children with my ex-husband. And in the process of divorcing after 14 years,
Mhm.
I came here to Texas and I ended up, my children ended up not doing so well. They started to have these eczema and issues with their health.
Mhm.
And I could not find resolution in traditional medicine. It was becoming very, very frustrating. So I
Wow.
started to look into holistic practices, which I wasn't interested in at all. However, I started to dive into it and find great results in using essential oils, natural things to help bring healing to their body. And then I ended up losing my corporate job. I was laid off. And in the process of searching for a job, I would find all kind of jobs that it should have been my name next to the description, but no one was calling me. But one place did call me, and it was a holistic center
Mm.
and for their office manager position. And I started working there because I thought, wow, I'm so interested in this holistic stuff. It's working for me, for my children.
Mhm.
Let me do this. And while I do my business,
Yeah.
management,
Yeah.
I hated it. Absolutely hated being an office manager at this
Oh,
place.
okay. Yeah.
I was getting ready to quit. I wanted to quit. And the naturopath was like, you really connect with people. I would like you to look into some holistic emotional healing modalities. And because people come to me for natural, their health, but they have a lot of emotional issues and I don't have time to deal with it. Can you look into this, train, and I'll hire another office manager? I was like, absolutely, I can.
Oh, that's
And so
awesome.
I looked into some different emotional healing modalities and I started working with clients. And I've been doing it now for 13 years. It has been absolutely amazing. And so taking that back to my spiritual experiences, I've always I wanted to be a minister, but it didn't work out. The plan did not work out for me.
What happened there?
However, well, because I got kicked out of school, and then after I divorced, I went through this huge transition because I was like, God, I did everything. The Bible, I was a for real bona fide Christian. Do you hear
Mhm.
me? And I felt like I did everything the Bible said do, and then my marriage fell apart, and it caused a huge rift where I really
Mm.
started to seek God from the perspective of not just what I've read in the Bible, not just what ministers have said, not just what I've studied over the years, but God, who are you really? And what is going on?
No,
And
yeah.
it took me on this amazing journey of healing in a way that I've never seen within church over my years. I've never seen growing up as a PK. I'd never seen this level of healing as I tapped into energy healing. And if I hadn't experienced, I think, that rift and that questioning and that opening up to deeper things after my divorce, I don't think I would have opened up to energy healing, which is what I do.
Mm.
Emotional release is a form of energy healing, and
Okay.
it opened up that gateway for me to open up to invite it in to explore it without fear. Because in Christianity, you do not ask questions. You just listen to what's being said to you. You take it in as all truth,
Yep.
and you don't ask questions. And the divorce freed me to ask questions of God, and God revealed some things to me that has changed the course of my life, and I'm grateful.
That's
Yeah,
beautiful. I love that. I
yeah.
love that. I love it. This sounds like purposeful to me.
Oh my goodness, it
Oh
was
my
so
God.
so
It just took
purposeful.
you right there.
It did. And I remember one day when I was in church, and people were coming up to get healed. I was a part of this healing ministry. And I remember sitting in the back, and my mom went up to be healed. She had some issues with her health. And I remember sitting in the back of the congregation. I was like, God, I really want to help people heal their emotions because people in church are sad. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sad.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, things aren't working out. I have joy and excitement here, and I feel connected here. But when I leave here and go back to my day to day life, I feel like I'm always just striving for really true peace, really true joy, really true transformation. And I'm not experiencing. I want to help people. When I become a minister, I want to help people heal their emotions. And so it's so interesting how I'm doing that very thing, but I'm not doing it on the platform that I thought it would be. I thought it would be from a pulpit, and it's not from a pulpit. And I'm doing
Wow.
the very same thing that I had prayed to do decades ago, but I'm just doing it in a different way.
That's amazing.
Hmm.
Why do you think Black people don't or do Black people participate in it? Because I'm just
Like I said,
assuming.
I've been doing this for a while, and I've done it. I've worked at two holistic centers, and I also work in my own
Mm-hmm.
practice. Um, I've seen thousands of clients,
Mm-hmm.
and I would say 97.5% of my clientele over the years have been white. And one of the reasons I believe that is because working in holistic centers where I've worked, they do not take insurance. It's places where it does cost quite a bit to come to some of the clinics that I've worked in. So it's people that really are aware of things like holistic health and healing
Mm-hmm.
and doing alternative medicine, because those things do not take insurance in our society, so we have to pay out of pocket, and it can be really pricey. And sometimes in our community, we don't put forth the money to
Yes.
do things from a holistic perspective. And it does require, when you address your health from a holistic perspective, it does require consistency. It requires you doing on a regular basis, taking your supplementation, doing things that requires that consistency. Because when we go to traditional medicine, you take a good pill, you do it for a while, it does,
Yeah.
it really tends to the symptoms opposed to the root of the issue of your illness, your discomfort, your disease, or whatever you're experiencing. So you do have to have the financial resources, you do have to have the structure and the consistency to take holistic remedies and continue it on a regular basis. And so I think that plays a role in why African Americans, Black people, do not go the holistic route. So whenever I see Black people come to me, I'm like, hey, oh my gosh. I feel like, I think it's definitely something that not just Black people, all people
Yeah.
need.
For sure.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I primarily see people that are not.
Well, you said the
Mhm.
consistency thing. You think that Black people don't have the time to be consistent, or because you did mention that? How would that correlate to Black? Do you think they don't have
I
the
don't
time, or
necessarily, I don't know, I wouldn't even say the resources, or because it is a little pricey to come to
mm-hmm.
holistic centers, and you do have to maintain um, continuing that pathway. If you want to live in a holistic way, you have to continue with the way that you're eating, the organic eating, the holistic supplementation
Hmm.
that you take, and it can be a little bit pricey. And so that just requires people to have the resources consistently to do that and to maintain the health if they want to do that. And sometimes I think in our culture, it's not as common to do it
Hmm.
from that
Yeah.
place.
Okay. How do you think that would benefit Black people? Eh, Like,
Um, I
'cause,
really
we are a
kind of
traumatized
don't.
group.
I do agree. I do agree. Um, I first want to say I think this type of work benefits all people because it's a human condition. And one thing that I learned, trauma is a human condition.
Hmm.
And I
Hmm.
remember when
Hmm.
I first started doing this work, I went through a crisis myself in the very beginning when I was like, who am I to tell people, I'm going through such traumatic things in my life. Who am I to sit behind this desk and help people with their emotional trauma when hell, I'm going through emotional trauma? And when I started to work with people, I discovered that it does not matter if you are Black, white, Hispanic, where you come from, your economic status, or your culture.
Hmm.
Everyone experiences, not everyone, but most of majority of humanity experiences trauma to
No,
some
for
level, to
sure.
some degree, an emotional strain and distress and a dysregulation of their nervous system due to all of the hoopla that can go on within our personal lives and what can go on within the world and that can go on within our childhood.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so I do feel that, even as I explain what I do, people can relate to it
Yeah.
because we've all experienced that. And I remember sitting and be like, who am I to do this and to help? And when I started to see people come in, I'm like, hell, I'm doing all right.
No, yeah.
You know what I mean? I
No, for
was like,
sure.
it does not matter where you come from, what you have. We've all experienced some
Why did you
difficulties.
feel like that?
I think because at the time when I first started working in a holistic center where I
Hmm.
felt like, and I'm just going to be honest, a lot of the people that would come there were wealthy people.
Hmm.
And so I would have the mindset of who am I to help people that are on this economical status based off of where I was at the time. So do you
Oh,
understand what I'm
okay. I
saying? So
see
I was
what you're
like, who
saying.
am I? And so I've definitely gone through a
Of
transition from
course.
that in
Of course.
totally. This was over a decade ago.
No, but
That I
I'm
had
I'm
this
so happy you
struggle.
being honest about that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so I was feeling like, who am I to help these people? I'm a single mother of four. I'm struggling, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And but that changed very quickly for me when I started to hear you are sitting on the other side of my desk. You are pouring out your secrets, your family issues, what you're going through, the trauma in your marriage, the disrespect of your children, the economical issues that you're dealing with. You're on the other side of my desk asking me for help. And that totally helped me to shift my perspective on the value that I was able to bring to those who came to me.
Okay. So what?
Yeah.
So what do you think the difference between what you do and therapy is? Is it a difference?
Yeah, I believe talk therapy is amazing and
Okay.
great. And but what I do is provide emotional release, meaning talk therapy is exactly that. It
Hmm.
is you're talking through and processing consciously whatever it is that you're experiencing. The work that I do helps a person to go into the subconscious. The subconscious is what's our subconscious mind is what's really running the show
Yeah.
in our life. Consciously, we think we are, and those thoughts that are coming from the mind, and that only runs about 15-20% of what's really going on in the world. What's really playing and what's the driving force of our decisions and how we see life, how we perceive life, how we respond to life is based on our subconscious. And our subconscious is a massive software system of our body and of our spirit. And it is constantly running with all of the memories that we've experienced from childhood up until now, ancestral things and patterns, programming, all the way up until now. And that's what's really running the show.
Hmm.
So, what makes the work that I do and others that do energy work different from talk therapy is we help you to go into that subconscious. We help you to become aware of some of those patterns And then we use different techniques like magnets, breathing, breath work, things that help you to tap into and rewire the programming beyond what the conscious mind is thinking, but rewiring from an energetic perspective. And so when you can rewire that, then you can start perceiving things differently, perceiving your life differently. And perception is everything. So if you can start perceiving things differently, then you respond differently.
You can probably articulate yourself better to your talk therapist if you're going
Yeah,
through the right work, and you can
absolutely.
identify exactly
Yeah.
what's the painful parts that you're
Yes.
really experiencing.
Because talk therapy can sometimes keep you in a loop. It can
Mm-hmm.
keep you in a loop of the trauma unless you have a really good talk therapist that is helping you to talk through it, take responsibility, level up, talk through some more, take responsibility, level up. So it depends on, I think, the talk therapist, because we can get caught up into loops and we can just stay in a pattern that we keep living the same thing over and over and over again.
So you think if somebody gets this type of therapy, do they need talk therapy as well?
I think it does. It can support. I saw this one client. She had been going to talk therapy for 15 years. 15 years.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. And but when she came to me and we were able to shift some energy, she her husband actually ended up coming to see me after, her ex-husband rather, actually ended up coming to see me afterwards. And he didn't reveal who he was. He didn't reveal that he was a past client's ex-husband. And so I started to go through the process with him. And then he ended up telling me at the end, he said, I really just came to see you because you worked with my ex-wife. And he said, she has changed so much since she's come to see you. I've wanted to get back with her. And I just wanted to see, what did she do?
Mm-hmm.
What did she do to help her shift in a way that he wanted to get back with her? And that's what he came to me for, to see. And she had been going to therapy for years. And just shifting some of that energy that can be stuck and stagnant in our body can help change everything for us.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Mhm.
So few people go to this type of therapy and therapy in general. Do you feel like when people are healed, does it disrupt their ability to communicate and be in community with everybody else, because majority of everybody is not healed? Like, do your clients sometimes talk to you about difficulties they have after they're actually working towards healing?
Yeah. Yes, it can, because
Okay.
as we heal,
Mm-hmm.
as we change and as we shift energy within ourselves, we will no longer start to resonate with people that we normally resonate with. People who are normally our friends, who think on the same lines that we used to think on, respond to life the way we used to respond. We just don't vibe with them the same way. And so it can cause subtle disruption where you just start to fade, the relationship just starts to fade away. Or it can be abrupt where it's like, look, we're not on the same page, whether it's in a relationship or whether it's a friendship. And so you just don't vibrationally align with others as you do true inner healing. True inner healing is going to change your vibration. It's going to change your frequency. It's going to change what you attract in your life. It's going to change your conversations. It's going to change what you tolerate. It's going to change your boundaries. It's going to change a lot of things in your life. So you won't be able to relate, and it won't feel like home anymore, because you're recreating another place of safety and comfort within yourself. So it changes.
What do you do? Like, what is your advice on when you heal and you're kind of alone, and that you might be? What do you tell your clients to do? Because that's another feeling, of loneliness, and now I have to separate myself from these people because I don't identify anymore, and I don't want. And then I will say this, even with me doing my own healing, like. Triggers, like, they trigger you, because you're not in that place no more. Back then, you didn't realize that was a trigger, but now you know, because you didn't let it go.
Yeah.
But it's like, what's your advice on dealing with that, with that, or what do you have to find a new community at that point?
More than likely, yes. So there's a couple of things I can say to that.
Okay.
I think triggers are blessings. Triggers are treasures. That's how I view it.
Wow.
When people experience triggers, they don't like being triggered. And it's like, I don't like how that feels, and it gets frustrating. I encourage people to lean into their triggers. When they get triggered, what it's doing is revealing to them another area, another layer that has not yet been healed. And so
Mm.
we want to lean into our triggers and we want to become curious about them, opposed to, I don't like that you done triggered me. I'm in by bother with you. No, lean into it like, wow, why did that trigger me? What exactly triggered me? Was it what they said? Was it what they did? Why don't I like that? Did I used to be like that? And lean into it so that you can heal whatever's being triggered. And it takes you into a deeper level of healing. So we want to lean into it opposed to resist it and being frustrated with it. It's showing that you are leveling up to a degree.
Okay.
Okay.
So you got to identify them
I
now.
think another thing is that, sometimes when we do heal, we're on a healing journey. And I don't want to say healed because we are always, our soul is evolving and there's always other levels and layers to healing. And so we don't reach a place, my thought and belief, we don't reach a place of healed unless we reach a place of full enlightenment. And those are people who are like Jesus the Christ, Buddha Christian, that reaches that place of full enlightenment. And so we're going to be on a regular journey of healing different layers of ourselves. And so I do encourage people to say, hey, when you go through that state of loneliness, solitude, being somewhat of a hermit because now you have shifted, take joy in that. That means that you're growing. And then you want to then seek out and then pursue relationship connection with people that are on the same vibrational level, intellect, energy that you have now evolved to, and take pleasure in that solitude. Because a lot of times
Mm.
when we're in spaces where we're not vibing the same way, or we trying to stay in those places with friends and family that's familiar, it does keep us down. It
Yep.
does pull us back down to the labor because it's what we're familiar with. But now our nervous system is regulating to a different vibration, a different frequency, a different energy. We want to level up with that. And we will have moments and spaces of solitude because it's needed.
Yeah.
We want to do that. And we can choose to take joy in that, choose to take relaxation in that. And so that we can level up and
Okay.
connect with people that are on the same vibe as us, vibration.
Love it.
Mhm.
Do you think, okay, so I know with therapy, a lot of times like your past trauma is brought up. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like, oh, I did this. So maybe it's because when you were little, blah, blah, blah. Do you think sometimes like bringing up the past trauma for some of your clients maybe is helping them avoid responsibility for what they got going on right now? Because there's things that decisions that they're making right now that are not great decisions. And sometimes I think in therapy, they just be like, well, that's because of when you were a child, you're still a little kid. But that's, I feel like maybe that helps them not take responsibility for what they're doing. So what do you think? Do you think that's the case? Or
Absolutely.
okay.
Our child, our
Love it,
childhood
Felicia.
trauma, or our childhood experiences have a direct and can have a direct impact
Mhm.
on who we become as an adult. However, it's just like the scripture that says in the Bible, like when I was a child, I thought as a child. Now that I'm an adult, hey, when we become adults, we are then responsible. Now we can reflect upon our childhood experiences that have played a role in how we are thinking and perceiving now. We want to reflect on that because we want to heal that perception from a child that is now causing us to make decisions now. So, for example, we can experience within childhood where our parents got a divorce. There was a lot of arguing and things like that that happen. And so as a child, we perceive it as that. And a lot of children, I'll use this as an example, they can feel like I'm the reason for that. I'm the reason for this happening. Or my father left, so men can't be trusted. On a subconscious level, that seed can be planted. So then when they become an adult, they can feel like, okay, men cannot be trusted. Couldn't trust my father, I can't trust men. And they may not be consciously saying this, but subconsciously that's the pattern that's flowing. So then they'll go through life and they can sometimes sabotage their relationships. They will break up with somebody because they're just waiting for them to do something because they can't be trusted. And so they keep a pattern. So you do want to go back into childhood and say, when was this seed planted? Okay. Now, as an adult, you need to take responsibility of your self-sabotaging ways. You need to stay in a relationship long enough in order to work through some of these experiences in your life. Take responsibility for where you are now, but understand at the same time where this seed came from. and you go back and heal that seed perception.
What's your biggest way or your most effective way of healing something like that, like an old personal trauma?
Help people to recognize where that seed thought came from.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can have a person focus on, or you could just ask them, what particular age did you first feel as if people could not be trusted? And most people, when they come to do this type of work, they are receptive because they want the healing. And so when you get them into a relaxed state, it can easily come up. I don't know why, but I feel like the age of 5. Then you just have them visualize. Do you remember what you looked like at the age of 5? Go back to that moment. Do you remember a conversation where you felt like you couldn't be trusted? You couldn't trust others. Breathe into that space. And then sometimes you can just, when they're in that relaxed state, then give them some statements like where they can repeat within themselves or say it out loud. Life can be trusted. I can't trust myself. You kind of help them to work their way through that while they are consciously thinking or subconsciously tapping into where they were at the age of 5 so they can heal that fragmented part of themselves. Because when we experience trauma or difficulty, our soul can fragment, meaning we can still grow up as an adult, but that 5-year-old can become fragmented out. And that's the part of us that's still throwing tantrum. That's the part of us that the adult is still making decisions based off of that fragmented part of us during that age. So we put a person in a relaxed state where they can draw that 5-year-old back into themselves and say, hey, life can't be trusted.
Okay.
We can't trust people. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then that can help resolve or dissolve some of that.
Okay.
energy.
So in talk therapy, sometimes they bring in like other people to help with the therapy, maybe, with the older traumas, maybe bring the parent in, or with a wife that's having issues, they might bring in the husband sometimes. Do you do that in your work, or is it just focused on the actual person that's coming to you?
Sometimes I do,
Okay.
if the person is open to it. Absolutely. So
That's
I've met with couples, I've met with children,
Okay.
and because sometimes when some of our experiences or trauma are really caused, I don't want to say caused by, because I believe in full self-responsibility. However, sometimes a relationship with a parent or a spouse can impact us. And so if the spouse, if the parent, if the child is open to it, I'm like, yes, come in. Let's have a conversation together. And sometimes it goes well, sometimes it does not. Because typically, sometimes a person is open to healing and the other person may not. Another person may be still focused on not what is my responsibility in the dysfunction of this relationship. They may still be in a place, in a state of blame, versus when people come to me, they're more open to, what do I need to heal? What role am I playing in it? What do I need to release? And if you bring somebody else in, they may not be in that space where they want to take responsibility or really do that healing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, but it does. If both people are at that state where I am open, I want to heal, I want to understand, I want to see where my responsibility lies in the dysfunction of this relationship, it can be beautiful.
Okay.
But if not, it's not so pretty.
Okay. So I know you do your retreats, and I heard we talked about that, and it was really nice. It sounded like it was really helpful for everybody who was there.
Yeah.
How important are those retreats, and what does the person get out of it? Because sometimes people are nervous because they're going somewhere and putting out their trauma with a whole bunch of people they don't know. But of course, it's a safe space,
Yeah.
So I want you to explain to people, like, kind of, what benefits do they get out of those retreats?
Yeah, awesome. Thank you for asking that.
Of course.
Yes, this year I've hosted retreats in the past, but this year in 2026, I am hosting 5 different retreats, and they're all focused on women. And these retreats have been created from experiences that I've had with clients over the years. And so I just had one January 8th through the 11th, and was healers, healing healers.
Wow. Okay.
And so it was
Healing healers is
absolutely
heavy.
amazing. It was so good. The group is still solid. We formed a group from that retreat, and it was 10 women, and we have been consistently connected since then. Because when you get together with like-minded people who are going through some of the similar same things, it caused a bond between all of us. And we have kept that thing going, and we've started a cohort from it where
Oh,
we
wow.
continue
Beautiful.
supporting each other throughout the year. I have one coming up in April
Mm-hmm.
for healing after abortions, because I found that meeting with women over the years, a lot of women, they'll come to me for all kind of things. But then I found when you get down to the root of it, some of it came from having an abortion years ago. They can be
Wow.
40,
Oh my
50,
gosh.
and it's still a seed of guilt or shame or regret from an abortion. And so it just blew my mind how many women have experienced abortions. And I was like, okay, if I'm gonna do a retreat, I definitely got to do one for healing
It's
after an
beautiful.
abortion, because it can happen years past, but some people still hold that grip. And then I have one coming up in June that's around, I'm calling it the softening, but it's really tapping into your divine feminine essence, because I found with a lot of women, met with a lot of professional executive women, women who are the breadwinners of their home, women who are out here making it happen, but they find themselves stuck in this masculine energy, and they really struggle with softening into their femininity, their intuition, their compassion, because they have to be on that, or they perceive they have to be on that drive, that hustle and grind. And so that retreat is going to be for that. And so there's another one coming up, healing from sexual trauma too as well. And this is the first one I did about 4 years ago, and it was amazing. So 1 out of 4 women have experienced some level of sexual trauma in their life,
Mm-hmm.
a sexual assault in
No,
their
for
life.
sure. Yes.
And it is an
I think
epidemic.
it's higher for Black women
Oh
too.
my
Yeah.
goodness, it is unbelievable.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
so we'll be doing that again in October as well. So when women
Beautiful.
can come together, and you can come together, and I really create a safe space for the women to come together. You set that at the beginning, and then women can really open up. And so we use a lot of different energy healing. We use breath work. We have, people come in to do different levels of massage. We use dance, we use movement, we use all kind of different energetic spiritual tools to shift the energy and to heal the subconscious and the inner dwellings of the body, so that it's not just gathering information, but it is really going through a transformation during the retreat to heal these areas and these wounded places
Oh my gosh.
after the retreats.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's
How
amazing. Yeah,
that's heavy. A lot of
it
those
is.
every topic that you just named for your retreats is heavy. And
Mm-hmm.
you're the person who has to deal with all of the trauma that's coming your way.
Yeah.
And so you had a healers for healers, and you're a healer
Yeah.
that's healing all the
Girl,
healers.
girl, let me tell you, I said at the end when we were doing our closeout, I said, I know I crafted this event for you all, but I experienced great healing in the process of it. Do you know what I mean? And it was such a blessing to be a part, because I went with the intent of serving them, and I
Yeah.
felt like it really served me too as well. And I received a lot of healing, a lot of affirming that the work that I'm doing is needed, necessary.
And
It
no, it is
is,
for sure.
yeah, and it really did affirm a lot of things for me. So it was
Beautiful.
awesome. It was
How do you
awesome.
deal with that though? Like okay, so as a healer, as a therapist,
Mhm.
as a person who had thousands of clients and you had trauma dumps. You have trauma
Mhm.
dumps there
Oh
almost
my
every time
gosh,
you hear
girl.
somebody, talk
Yeah.
to somebody.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that in your own self? Because you're just a woman. Like
Yeah.
at the end of the day, dealing with all this trauma that's coming your way. Like
Yeah,
you must
you
be a
sound like
strong
my kids.
woman.
They be like, "You're just a girl, mom. You're just
Right. And you're just dealing with everybody's trauma. Like how does that
Yeah.
affect you in your personal life?
I've learned over the years that I do have to, like I just had a session yesterday, I have to do things to reset my energy, because when I connect with people, is usually I'm actually taking in their energy into my vibrational field, so that I can really hold space for them. I can be compassionate towards them and really feel what they're feeling. So I use a lot of elemental purification, meaning I go outside, I stand in the sun, I ground myself, I sit in front of a fire, I do different spiritual baths to help cleanse and to clear my energy, so that I'm not taking on and harboring energy that is not mine. I only show up to serve you for where you are, and then I have to dump myself so that their energy is not connecting and attaching to me. And so I have learned too, when I've done retreats in the past, it was just me doing all of the work. I have learned from that. So in all of the retreats that I have coming up, I have other facilitators that are coming in, that are holding space, that are using their gifts to support the women too as well. So it gives me a breather, and I don't have to be all things to all people,
Yeah.
within the retreat. And I am really enjoying that and connecting with other healers and allowing them and creating the space for them to serve too as well. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So how do you know when people are actually healed? Like, is there a healed, or is that just a constant thing that you have to work toward?
Yeah. I think, like I was saying earlier, I do think there's different layers to healing, because we can heal something and then it's going to reveal more. We go a little bit deeper. We heal that. It reveals more. We are like, how they always say it's the onion. There's a peeling of a onion. And so people can experience different levels of healing. And they shared, I just led a breath work journey last week, Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the people that came was a client that I had like 4 years before. So I hadn't seen her in 4 years. And she came to the breath work and she said, I just want to let you know that when she came to me, she had an issue she had divorced, but she had to co-parent. And she said, I have so much anger towards my ex-husband. I cannot function. I cannot be kind. I cannot be loving, even in the midst of my kids. And so she came to me and she said, I want you to know that after our sessions and working together, my children graduated and my ex came, and she said, all my anger was gone. I couldn't even respond like I normally respond to anger. She said, I just want you to know the work you do, it works. So that's a layer. That's a layer. And so she was able to heal that. And I was like, man, that's awesome, because that's what it's supposed to
Yeah,
do.
for
But now
sure.
she's going through another experience where she's getting ready to graduate. And so, not graduate, but retire. And so she's dealing with another layer of, is it time for me to retire? Who am I going to be after? Because my identity is wrapped up in, being this doctor. Who am I going to be after I do that? So we can do another work on clearing some energy so that she can
Okay.
re-identify herself. Because a lot of times our identity can be wrapped around
Mm-hmm.
what we do. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just giving an example that's another layer that she may need to go from some layer of healing through. So there's different layers. I don't think that we evolve to the place of all things are healed,
For
but
sure.
we can come to a place of peace where even if there aren't some places that are healed, we can enter those places of healing more gracefully, more peacefully, more, I've got to heal something else, not with that attitude where, oh, wow, there's another thing that I'm going to discover about myself, another layer that I'm going to heal. We can start gracefully going into those stages of healing differently.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay. So what advice would you give somebody looking for this type of, therapy? Because I feel like, honestly, with this type of therapy, and I've just been like in my spiritual self lately, I feel like you have to be led to your perfect person sometimes, because sometimes you might meet somebody and you just don't click. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But what is your advice for somebody looking for this type of therapy?
I think that when people are open to this level and
Mm-hmm.
layer, just through their own spiritual practices, whether that's prayer, whether that's meditation, whether that's tapping within. When a person is ready, it's almost like, that statement that says, when the student is ready, the teacher will come. When a person is truly ready to say, I'm ready to go down this route to heal, I'm ready to take responsibility for where I am in life, and I'm ready to heal these wounds, then what's needed for them will come. When they are ready, the right person, the right modality, the right, it could be a plant medicine ceremony too as well. There's so many different ways of healing the self that has evolved that wasn't available when I was a kid growing up. This type of thing, like our parents and our parents, they didn't have the level of whether talk therapy, energy work, and healing. They did not have these things available and accessible to
Even
them.
when they rejected them.
Yes.
Yes.
And so
Told us
now
to.
people in our day and age, in our generation, we are now tapping in and we are wanting to heal these deeper wounds. And it's really we're really being a bridge between one generation to the next,
Mm-hmm.
because we're healing some things that our parents and parents never healed, never would have done and gone that way. And so it does add a lot of pressure, but then we're also still raising children and having children where we are healing things and then changing how we parent, changing how we speak, how we talk, how we live. And so a lot of people in our stage and age, we're being that bridge. And so it's just really tapping in to say, I am open to heal, and it will come to you, whatever modalities, whatever retreat, whatever plant medicine ceremonies, whatever, it'll start to come to us as we open ourselves up to it.
I also believe, like, if you're a person who's is spiritual and you already do this type of work, that you should be recommending this type of work to the people that's around you.
Mm-hmm.
And people like I met Miss Felicia, but at the end of the day, I wanted her to come on so that so other people can see what she's doing, so that people can go to her, because I feel like I just can tell spiritually and by energy that she is a safe space, for women. And then based off of all of the retreats that you even said, for you to even care to do those things is big.
It's unbelievable, the need. And I realize that that's just within the people that I have seen.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a micro compared to the macro of the people that are dealing with it. And my retreats, I keep them small to just 12 people. So it's not that many. So my goal is to do them annually for the next 3 years, to really master them and to just continue to open them up to women over the years. And so I'm excited about this new journey, this transition.
Beautiful. And this is SawCast. Thank you so much for listening, watching. Miss Felicia, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all the advice. I mean, we did have some questions, but I started asking her my own stuff in there, and she was on it. So I really appreciate you coming out, being so open and so transparent with us and helping us, because you've already helped us. And thank you guys. I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Bye.